you've been doing this forever, and I'm really wondering what your opinion is of how things have changed, both politically and non-politically, in terms of the way people are thinking and interacting right now. I have my own views about that, but I'm curious what yours are because you're talking and, more importantly, listening to people every day. How are things changing out there right now?
I surround myself with people who disagree with me. And it's a great joy to have meals with and conversations with people who, quite frankly, think I'm full of it. And I am shocked that today, 2022, we want to be affirmed rather than informed. We want to be confirmed or validated. And the challenge to me is that we keep teaching young people pride when we should be teaching humility. There was so much more to learn. There was so much more in all these various conflicts than we possibly know. And Americans don't want to hear the other story. It's as though we reject Paul Harvey, who most of your listeners won't even know who he is, but we're not looking for the rest of the story. We're not looking for the details. We're simply looking for confirmation of what we already believe. And that, I think, is the greatest threat to democracy. I think it's the greatest threat to the country. And it is something that I don't know how to fix. I don't know what language to use. I don't know what words to say to people. Slow down, ask questions, speak a little bit less, and listen a little bit more.
Do you think that led to the stress that caused you to have some medical problems and issues, your frustration with all of this?
I know that my not speaking up and speaking out against Donald Trump, I'm going to answer every question you have, and I'm going to do it in a direct way. I appreciate, by the way, as a student of language, you're a nice guy, and you tried to ask me a very gentle question. I'll be more explicit. I had a stroke. My head exploded. And I believe that it did because I saw things that were happening in the country and across the globe, and I knew I should be more vocal about it, but I didn't want the pushback. I didn't want the consequences of it. For my entire life in politics, I attempted to speak truth to power, which meant that I would walk into a congressman's office or I'd walk into a CEO's office and I'd say to them, that speech you just gave was awful, or you're not connecting to your employees, or you're not communicating effectively to the country. Why are you saying that? Why are you doing that? I've never been afraid. And with Donald Trump, I was afraid. And all you have to do is go online to see what happens. He claims he can take criticism. No, he can't. He's a child. And you can't criticize a child without them fighting back, without them throwing a tantrum, without them misbehaving. There are things that Donald Trump did as president that are damn good. I know that people on the left will hear that and their minds will explode. But I was afraid to get into that fight. And I think in the end, my head just exploded. Look, I weighed 238 pounds. My blood pressure was 197 over 122 when I finally did have the stroke. And I say to you all listening to me now, just the truth will set you free. I didn't come up with that phrase. Someone else did decades ago, but it's true. You tell the truth and you feel better. You tell the truth and you do better. And I don't know whether to call you Phil or Dr. Phil. I want to be respectful to you because you have earned that respect. But the thing that I've always admired about your public persona is when you challenge people to be authentic in who they are. And the tragedy about America right now is that we punish people when they're authentic. We beat them up if they show any kind of contrition. And we should be rewarding it. This is one of the great differences between us and the Europeans. In Europe, they kick you when you're down. In Europe, if you apologize for something, they beat you up for it. In America, we're the land of second chances. But we've been much less so now. And I regret it. I should have been more vocal. I should have just taken the hits, and I do now. I don't like it. It's not fun. Please understand. When Donald Trump wants to wreck your life, he can get into it. But it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it doesn't help anyone anywhere. And I just wish I had been more free with and more outspoken about the dangers that were happening in America over the last 5 years.
I'm sitting here listening to you, and I feel like you've been reading my mail, because the very things you're saying are a real, I guess, existential crisis that I'm experiencing with myself right now. If I was going to write another book right now, the working title would be I Can't Take It Anymore, because I'm feeling what you were feeling a couple of years ago. I'm watching what's happening in America right now. I'm watching what we're doing in the universities when we are allegedly preparing young people for the real world. And I even say with parents that our job as parents is to prepare our children for the next level of life. We go to universities where there's supposed to be an exchange of ideas, and that's no longer happening. A third of students say it's okay to yell down someone that's speaking that you disagree with. I'm watching what's happening and seeing these young people that are traumatized if somebody asks them to try to resolve cognitive dissonance, try to take the other side's position and articulate it. They go to the dean and say they're traumatized. And I'm watching what we're doing where confirmation bias has become a religion instead of an affliction. I can't take it anymore. Psychologically, I see the pathology of the society, and I feel like I need to do something about it, and I'm not.
Okay, well, I got an idea for you, which is you and I together, although we'll be criticized because we're two white men. And by the way, this when I opened your podcast, I talked about embracing other points of view, embracing people that don't look like me. And I had a student up at Harvard, an African-American woman, tell me that it's because of my white male privilege that I have the ability to listen to these points of view, and that she doesn't, because she's always under attack and she has to associate and affiliate with other Black women because it's the only way that she can make it through life. And she's criticizing me for being so open, suggesting that it's because of something that my ancestors were able to do. And that's just crap. You and I together should bring about 20, 25 of these students together. And I'm in fact doing it at my home. This is my home now that you can see behind me. You should come over. It's in 2 weeks. I've got 20 college Democrats and 20 college Republicans, and I'm going to teach them decency, civility, mutual respect. I'm going to teach them how to disagree without tearing each other apart. And you should join me in that conversation, because the only way that we're going to save society, and I think we're too late, but the only chance that we have is for young people to stand up and for them to say, enough already. Enough cancel culture, enough wokeism, enough of accusations and labeling of people. If you give up and if I give up, then we will surely, we will never recover. And the way that I look at it is I'm very pessimistic about my own future. And this is going to sound horrible, and you may not even want listeners to hear it. But my friends know I feel this way. I don't think I'm going to be around for that long. And I'm a little bit thankful for that, because I think those things that made America so great, the willingness to take the arrows, the willingness to fight for freedom, the willingness to stand up when things were unfair and to try to fix that which is wrong. And boy, there are things that are wrong in this country. But the willingness to make a difference, we're just critics now. And all we do is accuse and we label. And if I'm not long for this world, I don't mind that, because I never thought I would be around to see the decline and fall of the United States of America. And I had this conversation with Mitch McConnell, and he tore me apart because he's an optimist. But I know what the American people are saying. I know what the American people are thinking. And all you have to do is go to a session in LA or San Francisco or New York or Philadelphia or Boston, and people hate each other and they rip into each other. and they don't learn from each other. And it is the worst on college campuses. So you and I together should do one of these sessions, because I think it'd be great for your listeners, great for your viewers, and you would really understand how awful college campuses have become today.
Well, if that's a genuine invitation, I will be there, and I'll be there 10 times if you want to do it 10 times. But I think all the cities that you named, none of them were in any of the flyover states. And I don't know what Mitch McConnell's ideas are, but I am the incurable optimist about the human spirit, and I'm not as jaundiced about it yet as you are, but I haven't talked to as many people about this as you have. I mean, we survived the Civil War, and we're still here. I believe there's got to be some way to find some unifying principle.